All right, fellas, let's get right into this. This is one of the most important topics because this is the most important part of getting into body game. This is exactly how to get lean. Now, I will say that nutrition is going to be 80% of results pretty much. This is pretty much what I ate today, right? Showing you guys some Thai food and stuff like that. But in general, you guys need to realize that your nutrition is super important. You can't overlook it. So I'm going to explain all the nuances that you need to lock in on your nutrition. This is what's going to bridge the gap between you being where you are now currently to you becoming the leanest version of yourself, the best version of yourself, which is there's going to be a big difference, right? But this is how you got to eat food. This is how you got to think about food. This is how you have to be in order to be the leanest version of yourself. All right. I always talk about identity. So I'm going to walk you through exactly how you want to think about food, how you want to approach food, how you want to approach eating, because I keep getting, questions. And people, I see people asking the wrong questions and stuff like that. They'll be like, "Oh my God, how many times do you eat?" Or "How many carbs? What's the gram of carbs I need?" Like just dumb questions like that, that just show that they need this. So the straightforward guide is going to be exactly what that is. It's going to be the shit that you need. All right. Now, obviously, if you're lazy, gooner, don't have a profile picture, this is probably not for you. If you're uncoachable, not willing to commit to at least 6 months of locking in, which is a very short period of time, this is not for you. If you are full of excuses and constantly do fad diets, this is not for you. Now, I know I always say these things over and over again, but this is literally the mindsets that hold you back from becoming the best version of yourself. If you look at someone who is not the leanest version of themselves, someone who struggles with nutrition, someone who struggles with working out, this is their issues. They're full of excuses. They're constantly doing fad diets. They're gooners. They're lazy as fuck, or they have a negative mindset. All right. This is also not for you, obviously, if you're not willing to change your relationship with food, because this is literally what we're talking about today is food, which, like I said, one of the most important things when it comes to becoming the leanest version of yourself. All right. So make sure that you're ready to prioritize yourself. You're ready to change your relationship with food. You're ready to change how you look at it, how you feel about it, all that stuff. All right, because a lot of times people aren't willing to do that, and then they wonder why they don't get, the results they want. Now, I'm gonna say this, and I know a lot of people are gonna get offended, which is great. All right, most people are fat because they overeat, lie to themselves, don't take accountability. For example, like I said, I've talked to lots of clients over the years, and they usually on phone calls they'll say stuff like, "Oh yeah, eat this, this, and that." No, they don't, because if they did, they'd be leaner than me, but they're not, right? So if you actually want to stay lean year round, stop searching for goofy diets, fad diets, magic diets. All right, I'm gonna walk you through no fluff, no BS, straightforward. Let's get into it. All right, so the real truth. All right, now I know you might be like, "Yo, why is there a skeleton there?" Because I'm trying to show you that there is no big bone skeletons. All right, a lot of you guys say stupid shit like, "Oh, I'm big bone." No, you're not. Your bones are the same size as mine. You just have way more fat surrounding them than I do. All right, that's the only difference. All right, you don't have bad genetics. Most of you guys don't. You haven't even maximized your genetics. Most of you guys have better genetics than I do. Let's just keep it a buck. You just don't maximize it because you count yourself out before you even begin trying. All right, do not say that you need Ozempic or any other GLP-1 or Anavar or Retatrutide or whatever. Don't say you need any of that stuff. Don't say you need extra help until you have maxed out your nutrition and done what you need to do. Because then you're going to realize, like, wow, I got some really good genetics when you actually start doing what you need to do in the kitchen. You'll really realize, like, wow, this is crazy. All right, like I said, you don't have bad genetics. You don't have a slow metabolism. You just have no self-control. All right. You're just eating without without knowing how much you're eating. You're literally just eating too damn much. Now, first thing you want to do is you don't want to guesstimate. Obviously, you want to count your calories. Now, you want to know how many calories you're eating. I know this sounds basic, but majority of the time when people aren't getting lean, guess what they struggle with? They do not count their calories, which is the craziest thing to me because I'm like, oh, okay, well, since you're counting your calories, how many are how much are you eating right now? I know you said you're working out, and people will be like, oh, well, I don't count calories, and I'm like, that's low key slash high key, the bare minimum to become the best version of yourself. Like you should be tracking your calories. That's the bare minimum that you should be doing. All right, simple, simple, simple. Now, here's the thing. There's no excuses for portion size and calorie counting. All right, I don't care how busy you are. You need to make sure that you're using one of these very easy to use apps. Like as you can see here, these apps are literally that easy to use. I use my Fitness Pal personally. I think this is what's it call it? I think this is Calorie King, but I use my Fitness Pal personally. But that works very well, and you have to realize that you need to make sure that you know exactly how much is going in. Do not guesstimate. If you guesstimate, you're not going to get anywhere. All right. Like every lean person I know, they have a general idea of how many calories they're eating. Even the people who like don't track exactly what they're eating, you know what I mean? They're still eating, they still have a relative idea because they've tracked before, right? So if you've tracked before, you're going to have a decent idea of how much you're eating, you know, once you stop tracking, which is the point of tracking in general, is to make sure that you have a general idea of the calories in different foods. So then you start picking different foods. For example, before you start calorie counting, you're gonna kind of eat whatever you want to. More wings, more fried foods, kind of whatever you want to eat, more chips, right? When you start tracking calories, you start realizing like, oh my gosh, like these chips have a lot of calories. Oh my gosh, these, fried chicken has a lot of calories. Fried foods has a lot of calories. Milkshakes have a lot of calories and they don't fill me up. That's what you're gonna start to notice. So then you're gonna gravitate towards ground beef, ground meat, chicken, things like that. You can be like, wow, this barely has any calories and it fills me up, right? So that's why tracking is important. It's gonna make you gravitate towards healthier foods automatically once you realize that, wow, I can't stay within my calorie budget when I'm eating whatever I want to. Like Pop Tarts aren't gonna fit. All right. So people who say tracking is too hard, guess what? Being fat is harder. All right. That's just how I feel. Nothing tastes better than being lean feels. I will say that. And you won't know until you get to the other side, but literally, like nothing tastes better than being lean feels. All right. Now, prioritizing protein. All right. As you can see, there's a lot of protein here. Do 1 gram per pound lean body mass. All right. Protein is going to keep you full. It's going to help you build and maintain muscle. I say this a lot, but a lot of people still go through the day and they eat like 50 to 60 grams of protein a day and they're like, why am I not getting results? If you're not building or maintaining muscle during your cut, you're wasting your time. All right, because your resting metabolic rate is going to go down, but your body fat percentage may even go up when you lose weight. All right, because losing weight is not losing fat. So prioritizing protein is going to be one of the most important things. And a lot of you guys ask me like, hey man, how do I stay aesthetic? How do I maintain my muscle? How do I build muscle in the deficit? It all comes down to prioritizing your protein. That's how important it is. It cannot be overlooked, all right? It is a very basic principle that most people skip. By the way, if you've skipped any of these principles or you're constantly skipping any of these principles that I currently went over, you need to reevaluate and make sure you don't skip those things. All right? And stop asking people questions about like, "Hey man, like what do I do?" but you're not counting your calories and you're not prioritizing protein. The basic two elements of eating right, like you have to. You have to make sure that you are building and maintaining your muscle and that your metabolism will be firing more anyways when you eat protein. But 8 ounces of ground beef will fill you up more than a family sized bag of chips, and it has 1/3 of the calories. All right, and it's mostly protein and nutrient dense versus chips, mostly carbs, fats, not nutrient dense. All right. Now, another thing, right? Look at this. Um, Look at this Coca-Cola. It literally has 140 calories. That's not crazy. But 39 grams of sugar is insane. All right. And it's just going to make you thirstier and it's going to spike your insulin. It's going to make you crave more of it. All right. So I know there's a lot of people like when I was training mostly nurses, a lot of them would drink soda throughout the day. They'd be like, but it has caffeine. And I'm like, just drink the calorie free one. And it's only 15 grams of caffeine or like, you know, 20 milligrams of caffeine in there or something like that. It's always small numbers. So it's like, you're not really drinking it for the caffeine. You just want the sugar high. You know what I mean? You want the dopamine hits. That's why you're really drinking it. Another thing is I remember that was this lady and she's like, oh my God, like, I don't know what I'm not losing weight. And I just wanted to cuss her out. I was like, listen, your big ass is drinking frappuccinos every morning. That's 590 calories. People don't realize that. Like, she thought she was in a 500 calorie deficit, but she had 590 calorie frappuccino every morning and a soda. So that's like 750 calories that she's not counting because it's through drinks and it's mostly carbs, right? And she's not getting enough protein anyway. So she's losing muscle and gaining fat, which is even worse because her body fat percentage is going up. So she was in a deficit in her head, but she wasn't counting, her juices, her sodas, and her frappuccinos, specifically sodas and frappuccinos, because that's what she was abusing. And then on the weekends, alcohol, she would have some alcohol and liquor. She wouldn't count that either because, oh, doesn't it flush out your system? It's like, listen, as a nurse, you already know, but, she was just kind of coping. But yeah, do not drink your calories. Lean people do not drink the calories unless it's some kind of pure fruit smoothie, like watermelon fruit smoothie or strawberry banana uh, fruit smoothie or something like that. But in general, drinking your calories, especially when you're limited, is not going to fill you up. Like if you have 1,800 calories to eat in a day. If you drink like 400 worth of calories, you're gonna be super hungry for the rest of the day. All right, because drinking your calories does not fill you up like eating your calories does. All right, now here's the thing: carbs and fats. You find your protein, 1 gram per pound lean body mass, and then you fill the rest in with carbs and fats. You want your fats to be at a decent level so your testosterone is high, right? And you want to keep your testosterone up. So that level is usually 50 to 55 grams, somewhere in that range at least. I usually keep my fat super high. Um, and then carbs, you just fill the rest in with carbs. Here's the thing: it's not about like everyone is so scared of carbs for some reason, even though on a daily basis, most people who are overweight or if you've gotten to a point where you're out of shape, it's because you ate what? Hella carbs. Like that's how hella processed carbs and hella processed fats. That's how you got fat. If you're eating, brown rice, white rice, oatmeal, white potatoes, sweet potatoes, fruits, vegetables, bread, you will be lean if you're eating that in moderation. Now, if you're eating straight Pop Tarts, chips, candy, cookies all the time, and you're eating fries from McDonald's and you're having, burgers from McDonald's, then yes, you're probably going to be in a calorie surplus, but it's also going to be unhealthy sources of carbs, right? You know what I mean? So you're going to feel like crap every day and you're going to get hungrier and you're going to crave those foods. So that is how you're going to, you know, that's how you're going to be gaining the fat when you're eating those foods. But like I said, when you're eating nutrient dense brown rice and some oats and some sweet potatoes and some fruits, that's going to be filling you up. It's going to have vitamins and minerals that you need. It's going to have fiber, right? And it won't give you dopamine hits like candy does. All right? So you're not going to build up that insulin resistance and you're not going to gain that extra fat. So the more important thing, not it's not so much like, oh my God, am I eating too many carbs? It's like, are you staying in a deficit while eating the right sources of carbs? That's what matters. All right. A lot of you guys are like, well, should I eat 215? Is 215 the perfect number of carbs? Like I said, prioritize your protein first, fill the rest with fats and carbs. Make sure the sources you're getting the carbs from are good because that's what actually matters. All right. Like I said, you don't want to be doing the Pop Tarts and the candy. That is not going to get you to your goals. A lot of people, surprisingly, are like, dude, I'm in a deficit. And I'm like, but you're eating Pop Tarts or you're drinking soda. You're not gonna get to your goals. You're gonna be nutrient deficient and you're gonna be craving more than most people are, but you're also gonna be, you know, maintaining insulin resistance or building insulin resistance because your sugar intake, if you're drinking 2 sodas and you're in a deficit, you're at 80 grams of sugar. All right. Which means, you know, the rest of your carbs and the rest of your calories are gonna have to be so nutrient dense just to have like a decent diet, but it's going to be impossible because we already have 80 grams of sugar, from 2 sodas because each soda is 40 grams of sugar. And that's like more sugar than I freaking eat in a day. So that's insane. All right. One more thing. Listen, listen, listen. I know you intermittent fasting warriors are going to get after me saying that intermittent fasting boosts your this and that by 800%. Just dumb bullshit. Listen, it's overall calories that matter. People who obsess over fad diets, intermittent fasting, they're just not experienced or they just don't have like deep knowledge of nutrition and they just over exaggerate shit. All right. If like I'm not even gonna say the what I normally say, which is if you comment intermittent fasting works and all that stuff, and you don't have a profile picture, you're not 10% body fat. Like I'm not even gonna say that stuff because in reality, it's literally total calories. That's what matters. Now, if eating 6 meals a day works for your schedule, do it. If eating 3 meals a day works for your schedule, do it. If intermittent fasting 1 meal a day works for you, do it. But it's the fact that your total calories and the quality of your calories, right? That's what's gonna make you lose fat. All right. Because yes, you can intermittent fast, but if you intermittent fast and you break it by eating donuts and you're eating a surplus, you will gain fat. It's that simple. It's calories in, calories out. All right. You're not burning more fat because you're intermittent fasting or burning less fat because you're not intermittent fasting. All right. All me and my leanest friends that I know, like I always tell you guys this shit, I don't think you guys will ever believe it, but none of us do intermittent fasting, and guess what? We're all lean. Why is that? Is it magic? Is it genetic? Nothing to do with genetics. It's literally just the quality of the food. That's the only thing that matters. Because a lot of people, this is another thing that a lot of people tell me. Like, this is probably the most common thing actually. Like I would say 80% of the phone calls I've gotten on or Zoom calls I've gotten on in the past 10 years, some people be like, yeah, man, like I was doing real good. I was intermittent fasting. I was like, I don't care. Like, why are you telling me you're intermittent fasting? What the fuck were you eating? No one cares that you're in it. Like, it doesn't matter. and it didn't work for you. That's why you're not currently doing it. Do what works for you and what you can consistently do. All right. If I thought I had to intermittent fast, every time I broke my fast early, I would feel like I failed and then I would just binge. That's what I would do. All right. Because I wouldn't understand that it's all about overall calories. So that's all I care about. That's all I care about now is the overall calories because that's all that matters. Very, very simple. Okay. So remember, it's not intermittent fasting. It's not eating 6 meals a day. It's your overall calories. So yeah. So don't say like, man, I should lose weight. I intermittent fast. There's no correlation there. Zero correlation between intermittent fasting and losing weight. Because like I said, if you eat whatever you want to and you intermittent fast, you're gonna gain weight. Simple math. All right. One more thing. You want to eat like an adult. All right, your body needs fuel. You want to maintain your muscle. As you get older, you know, your testosterone will slowly go down. But if you have a lot of muscle and your diet is in check, then it'll go down slower than most people's, right? But if you've been eating like shit from 18 to 40, you know what I mean? Yeah, your testosterone levels will be lower, your estrogen levels will be higher, all that stuff, right? But yeah, you definitely want to stop door dashing every night. You don't want to be eating fast food all the time. If you do, it better be like super lean Subway or Chipotle or something like that. And it better be rare occasions, like once every 3 months or something like that. You should like people who are lean, right? Unless they know a few fast food places or they're maintaining, people who are on the path to getting lean, they do not eat out. All right. It's just you're not gonna get lean eating out. It's not gonna happen. Obviously, there's healthy meals eating out, but it's the concept of being proactive versus reactive. When you're constantly eating out, that means you're being reactive instead of proactive. When you're constantly eating at home, that means you prepared in advance, which means that's more of a lean person's mindset is doing things in advance and having everything set up instead of driving through drive-throughs and being like, "Dang, I'm hungry. I need to grab this." That's not a lean person's mindset. If most of your meals come from Uber Eats, you're not serious. If you're even if you're buying stuff from meal prep, like you're not gonna learn the concept of meal prepping yourself and prioritizing your time. All right. Don't complain about being broke if you're buying, $30, $40 fast food combos every day, right? Obviously, you're going to be fat and broke. Social pressure. So, one of the most important things that I've had to, walk clients through is getting over the social pressure that you get when it comes to drinking, overeating, because listen, misery loves company. People love to push these unhealthy foods on you and be like, nah, bro, it's just one. You only live once. You know what I mean? No, you need to stay disciplined. I don't care if it's a family event. I don't care if it's 4th of July. You're going to have more 4th of Julys, hopefully. But if you keep eating the way you eat and you keep listening to friends and family, maybe you won't have another 4th of July because you'll have a heart attack or a stroke, right? So yeah, you got to stay locked in because it's your goals. No one else is responsible for accomplishing your goals but yourself. So you need to eat what you need to eat because it's your goals. Remember your vision. Remember your goals. People will say, "Oh, it's just one piece of cake. Live a little. You need balance." If you are overweight, that means you're out of balance in one direction, which means you eating in a calorie deficit is you trying to, you going out of balance in the other direction to even out your balance. Simple. And most people who are talking about balance, if they are not at a healthy weight, then they're out of balance themselves in the wrong direction. So don't listen to weak people with lack of discipline because every time they see you say no to liquor and they see you eat ground turkey or they see you eat ground chicken, it just reminds them that they have no discipline and it makes them feel bad, right? You caving is on you, all right? You're letting yourself down. I never understood people who were like, man, I just had to eat that piece of cake. Who said you had to? Who said you had to? You convince yourself to because you're weak. That's what it is. Simple. All right, so consistency over perfection. We're gonna make mistakes, right? Now you want to aim to be 100% on track, obviously, but shit will happen. When you're becoming your new identity, you might have a moment of weakness where you might grab, some Skittles or muffin or eat a pizza. But guess what? You got to get back on track because that's a skill. All right. The only way to lose in this journey is to literally give up. So if you're consistent, I mean, if you're just consistent, you just stay on the bandwagon and you keep trying your hardest with nutrition, eventually you're just going to be doing 80 to 90% good. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, if you had one bad week, you can still end the year on 90% good. All right, just lock back in. So if you fall off for a little bit or whatever, just lock back in. Just lock back in. All right, now you don't want to be constantly on and off because I see a lot where someone thinks that eating, like you want to raise your standards obviously, but I see a lot where someone thinks eating good for 2 weeks is really like they think it's amazing and they're like, wow, I accomplished something. And I'm like, okay, and that's their mentality. So in the next 2 weeks they eat whatever, and then at the end of the month they're like, dang man, I'm not making as much progress as I think I should. Well, you just did good for 2 weeks and then offset it with another 2 weeks of eating whatever you wanted to. So that's not how it works. You got to stay locked in 24/7 with the identity. All right. So don't think that 14 days of doing the bare minimum is impressive. That just means you have a low, low standards that you got to raise. If you screw up one meal, move on. Don't turn it into a, you know, 10-day binge or whatever. All right. Because best believe one bad meal is not going to take you away from your goals. One bad day is not taking you away from your goals. All right. But if you let that spiral into 1 month of eating like shit, then that's gonna mess with your mind, your discipline, and then that can seriously affect your goals. Simple sample day of eating. Look at those scrambled eggs. Them shits go hard. Anyways, breakfast, some kind of eggs. If you're not allergic to eggs, you should be eating eggs. All right, like any dude who says stuff like, "Nah, bro, like I don't want to eat eggs, man." Like if you're not allergic, I know some people are, but if you're not allergic, you should be eating them. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't want to eat eggs. I don't like them." That's literally just bitch shit. All right, that's just weak shit. All right, eat what fuels your body. If you eat what you quote unquote crave, you're just never gonna get to your goals because you'll be like, I'm craving pizza today. Maybe I should make protein pizza. No lean person talks like that. All right. If you're constantly chasing cravings, that's emotions. You're not ever gonna be lean. It's never gonna happen. All right. You can buy the cookbooks and stuff. No, everyone who buys the 300-page cookbooks never cooks any of that shit. They just stay fat because there's too many options. All right. It's too complicated. Anything that complicated can't be done. Like it's like if there was 300 ways to drive a car. Like most people wouldn't drive a car. It's just too complicated. You see what I'm saying? Like having 300 recipes is not how you get lean. Eating the same shit over and over again, keeping it simple, that's how you get lean. Because what is simple is repeatable. What is simple is sustainable. And that's how you create consistency. When something's sustainable and easy, it's like, oh wow, eggs take 10 minutes. Ground beef takes 10 minutes to make. Oh, everything's meal prepped. Oh, I could eat a yogurt. Oh, this potato I air fry for 20 minutes. Oh, protein shake. Protein shake and nuts. It's ready. Pause. You know what I mean? That's going to create sustainability because it's easy to be consistent. So then people will be like, "Whoa, how are you so consistent? How do you stay consistent?" Because a sample day eating is this fucking easy. Chicken you could throw in the air fryer, potatoes you could throw in the air fryer, steak and eggs take 10 to 15 minutes to make max. Greek yogurt and berries already made. Protein shake, nuts already made. Like these kind of things are just easy. I usually do lunch and dinner the same shit though to make it even easier. And then dessert, not really. Sometimes maybe Halo Top, but yeah, just keep it super simple. Here's the hard reality, guys. Like I pretty much said this whole fucking video. It's not complicated. You literally just lack discipline, all right? You fix it or you stay fat. Think about that shit. Like how many times are you gonna tell yourself this is the time I'm gonna follow through? Set yourself up for success by not pressuring yourself so much to do keto, pressuring yourself so much to cut out all carbs, pressuring yourself so much to cut out all sodium and sugar. Listen, I will be very honest with you. If you are, let's do a random height and weight. If you are 5'10", let's say you're 5'10", 35, and you're like 260, right? 260 to 300, anywhere in that range. Why would you cut out all carbs? You can eat you can eat 3,200 calories and probably 300 to 350 grams of carbs per day and lose a considerable amount of fat while maintaining muscle because you have so much fat to lose. All right, you literally have so much fat to lose, so you can lose a lot of fat by eating that many calories. So why restrict yourself to no carbs and 1,800 calories when it's not necessary? Stop trying to overdo shit and pace yourself. This is a journey. All right. This is a journey, not something you're doing overnight. Stop trying to get overnight results when it took you 10 years to get fat, when it took you 20 years to get fat, when it took you 30 years of self sabotage and giving in and lack of discipline to get fat. All right. Give yourself time. I really recommend most people commit to like at least a year to really lock in. But, anyways, link is in the description. Meal plans, workout plans, one on one coaching. For those who are serious, stay locked in, stay blessed. Peace.